because you're the only two drug users in the room. Me and Jeremy just drink.
We'll discuss that in just a second.
Well, more than what I'm saying.
Is your drug worse than mine, or is mine worse than
No, my drug's awesome compared to yours.
But how many people a year does yours kill?
Not me, so it doesn't fucking matter.
But that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's your body. Do what you want to it.
But now here's where I'm going with this.
When you're not relying on somebody to take care of you.
Me and you have had the conversation before. I believe in drug tests in workplaces where somebody coming in fucked up can risk my safety. You two, as I told her, you two are functioning drug users, okay?
I know the difference, and I agree with you on that, but that's also a private company.
But here's where I'm going with this. I feel that drug testing is not a matter of... I don't mean that I love this as I love this idea. I love the fact they've taken the steps towards it. I didn't even know 3 other states had done it. I thought it was just Kentucky, which led me to think, for fuck's sake, how did Kentucky come out of the dark ages before anybody else?
Nebraska, Oregon,
When I'm getting
Missouri.
in Kentucky, I know they've done something right.
It's like Jesus. But
Exactly. It is about Jesus, because it's these backwoods states like Kentucky, Oregon, Missouri, Oregon.
Missouri? Really? Just call it Missouri. You said Oregon. Call it Missouri. Just go ahead.
And Nebraska, that are using this Christian mentality that we should tell you what's good for your body and what you can take.
It's
And
not that, okay? That's
I'm going to make a guarantee on camera right now.
Let me
I'll let you finish in just a minute. But I'm going to guarantee, I challenge any government body in this country, decriminalize, and if the crime rate goes up and the drug use goes up and the deaths from drugs go up, I will publicly hang myself with hemp rope from some government building of your choosing. I will do it willingly, but I guarantee even welfare need will go down with the legalization of drugs, because price will go down with the legalization of drugs, and people won't be spending their fucking rent money on their drugs because they can afford it with their rent. Back to you, Willie.
I think it's a step forward in, and you have to hear me out on this. I think this can help the legalization of marijuana.
I think you're right.
I think this can, because even the most hardcore anti-marijuana person knows that marijuana is not a drug that leads to crime. Even if they're on their high horse about marijuana being a gateway drug. I feel I should look at the camera more because I have a desk and shit. If it's a gateway drug, they're not blaming what you're doing on marijuana. They're saying marijuana is the first step. But
that's only because the marijuana dealer has an interest to get you hooked on his stronger stuff.
Right. But with this law, you know, if this gets enacted and everything, and I know you've thrown out that you can't do it without a warrant and everything, I feel there's going to be a loophole. Maybe not in all 4 states, but somewhere. Some lawyer's going to find a loophole to where if you are getting assistance from the state, then you have to meet certain specifications. It can kind of go hand in hand with immigration. I don't feel an illegal immigrant should be able to get welfare.
I don't either.
You're not paying the taxes, and welfare comes from taxes. In the same amount, though, and I don't mean potheads. I have no problem with marijuana. I have no problem with pot smokers. And I've said before, though, if you work with me, especially in my warehouse job, I don't want you stoned off your balls driving the forklift. Because, let's face it, a lot of you can't fucking function when you're high. And that, honestly, is the problem.
The thing is, though,
that's
those people that can't function when they're high are because they don't use it every day.
But see,
I don't get high anymore unless I smoke a great deal.
Or we eat candy. Fucking great. But
candy was good.
Candy was delicious. That's the stigmata that the government is against. It's not against you who take care of your kids. You work at insurance. You're DJing. You're putting money and food on the table and all that. You are a stand-up father from what I know of you. I mean, I've known you for years, man. You are the 180 of what the government puts out as a problem pothead.
But the
What
thing
they're
is,
looking at, though, is
the ones you're talking about that are the problem potheads are few and far between.
it doesn't matter. They're there.
The ones you see on a regular basis in the bar, stoned and
No,
acting
no, I don't
stupid or
see
whatever.
them. I just know they exist. It's kind of like I honestly feel there is a Bigfoot out there.
But the thing is, people that use it every day or medicinally don't get the high you're talking about that makes them stupid
Right.
and unfunctional.
And that's where
And
I
those
feel,
are the people that still work. The ones that are stupid when they're high don't work.
well, if they work, why do they have to worry about taking a drug test for welfare?
They don't work. They're selling drugs for a living. And they're getting food stamps because the drug money isn't enough.
Okay. Well, see,
Or
this is where I'm
A lot of
going.
people on welfare are disabled.
No. A lot of people on welfare are telling people they're disabled.
That too.
I have nothing against the veteran that got his legs blown off, okay? I have nothing against the guy who has a slight retardation to where the best he could do is probably a fast food job. I know a couple of people like that. And that's not a joke. I know two people who have a mild retardation who work at Wendy's, and they're fine, you know. That's as complicated as a job as they could get, but it's still a job. But they get some government aid because of their mental handicap, as slight as it may be.
And
My
under those
problem-
laws in Kentucky, they could lose their welfare because they don't have they can't make you disclose what you're
That's-
going to the
see,
doctor
that's what
for.
the-
They can't even, the government can't even get the request.
But see, we're talking about this law in its rawest form.
Right.
You know as well as I do. They will tack so much shit onto this that by the end of the year, it'll probably it's not going to. What we're seeing now is never going to work. Okay? They have to tack shit onto it. You have to, because that's how fucking lobbyists and bureaucrats and everything do. You know, it's like Lewis Black said. That's how Congress works. A Republican stands up and goes, "I have a really shitty idea," and then a Democrat stands up and goes, "And I've got a way to make it shittier." But it's not the potheads that, like I said, are functioning or anything like that. Well, for fuck's sake, T2 Tim knows a guy who did heroin for 19 years and still kept a job. I'm not backing the fact that I think heroin is a horrible drug. I'm just saying he knew a guy that did it.
Helps make my point.
Still. But it's a matter of functioning. And there's the functioning users, there's the dumbass users, and there's everybody in between. Everybody falls into one of those two groups. Nobody's right in the middle.
Right, but
But
here's the thing about decriminalization that you're forgetting. With decriminalization, that means there's funding for help for these people.
Right.
So more people will get the treatment they need to get off drugs,
But-
and you'll have a healthier society for it.
But
It's
that's-
proven fact in Amsterdam, and it's a proven fact in Portugal.
It can be proven though, but okay, I'll talk about just America, not the world. Okay, we are the most bullheaded culture to ever walk the earth.
That's exactly right, and that's what I'm.
But it's not. I'm not saying with the government. With the average person, you can't force anybody in this country to do anything.
No, everybody
that
is
presented to them.
Everybody is set in their ways.
Well,
Change
that's
scares
what
them. They want it, but they don't.
That's what I'm saying with rehab.
If they
You
really
can't
wanted change,
force-
they wouldn't have elected a Republican Congress.
Well, you can't force an addict to go to rehab unless it benefits him somehow or her. A lot of know a lot of female addicts, and that's where I'm going with this. I don't mind, like I said, the casual user or the functioning user. What I have a problem with is my tax money when I'm working 70 hours a week at 2 different jobs to provide for myself. I have a problem with tax money being taken out on me, so some whore can sit at her house or apartment or her dealer's house or apartment and hand out HIV-infested blowjobs for $5 a piece every day so she can get all tweaked out and chase the dragon.
But she
gets-
wouldn't have to do that if
but
the prices
she
were
gets
down.
$400
They
a
never
week.
catch the dragon either.
No, they don't. No. They might touch the tail,
They never actually
but they never
the
catch it.
dragon.
It's like it's slippery. But
You're forgetting the cost difference between prohibition costs and non-prohibition
But
costs.
here's what
too.
I'm saying, though.
You know how much
She's-
that can of beer right there would have cost in 1928 or whatever
during
it was?
Prohibition?
During Prohibition.
$8.
Exactly. And that whole 12-pack was 10, if that.
Do you know how much I paid for a beer when I went to WrestleMania in Houston?
Well, that's
11.
That's because they know you'll pay it.
Can't get out of the building. You want a beer? Got to buy it from me. Anyway, my problem is not you guys. It's not Brian and Laura or anybody like that who can actually hold a job or what would be perceived as a job. Sorry. It's, I'm out working. I don't get all fucked up every day that the addicts do. And it's not a matter of, oh, if we just help them. They don't want help. We've already given them help. Hey, you stay here and go find a job. Well, no, I'm going to sit here and get all fucked up all day on my $300-400 a week or every 2 weeks, whatever the states might be. So, if it's random and you show up twice a month to get your check, one of those 2 times they're going to test you. True. 95% of people are going to be like, hey, I know how to get past a drug test. Drug tests are not hard to fool. But if you catch 1 out of 100, that's 70 cents less out of my paycheck in a month that they're taking from me. True, less than $1. But man, that's my money, okay? And if my money's going to go to help the government do something, I want the government to do something that at least gives me the illusion that in the long run helps me.
Well, let me
That's
ask
why
you
I
this.
can't sit and bitch about Medicare and Social Security. I'm not going to get Social Security. I already know that. Okay?
Let me
You'll
ask
be
you-
lucky to get it.
Let me ask you this. How much of your paycheck goes towards bills?
Towards bills? On
Percentage-wise, rough
Uh,
estimate.
percentage, I couldn't tell you. It's $400 a month plus $130 for car insurance.
All right, so your bills
530.
amount to,
I said I couldn't do percentages. The words never came out of my mouth that I could do regular math.
Well, I mean, when someone
Do you
says
have a
I can
talking,
do
do you have a
4,
talking stick? Yeah, shut up.
still 530.
Whatever.
so your personal bills amount to about $600 to $700 a month.
Let's go with that way.
530.
If
So-
you throw in me buying food for myself to cook at the house,
That's a bill, so yeah, include
okay,
that.
yeah, let's say $700 in a month's time.
For food?
Well, no, well, if I'm at 530, you throw 170 on.
Oh yeah, so
I'm a fat kid. I eat all the goddamn time.
all right. That's food you bring into the house to cook.
Right.
So we're saying that your bills are about $700 a month. And how many roommates do you have?
Fuck it. Let's say I do 600, and I have 3 roommates.
Okay. So let's say you all have about the same bills because you're all about the same age. So 4 times 6 is 1,600.
Right.
Or no, 2,400. My math is off.
Okay, man. I agree to it, so whatever.
See, I'm not high. That's what happens when I'm not high. My math goes off. All I had was resin this month.
What?
Can't do that. I agree with that.
All right, so we're saying
Plus 1 equals 2.
$2,400 a month for a household with 4 people in it. Sounds about average for a household of 4.
Can we say 4 people 18 or older?
Yeah,
They would say, 'cause, man, if you got like 2 babies in diapers, that shit's ridiculous.
that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about adults.
4 grown-ass people, 18 or older. Okay.
So you figure that's probably about 40% of your paycheck, right?
I make $1,300 a month, and I send 600 out in bills. That's almost half.
Okay, so almost 50% of your
Yeah.
paycheck. All right. Now, in the current system, we have 0.005% of our population that don't work at all and completely live off of welfare. That's a relatively small number, you would say, right?
Right.
What's the percentage?
0.05 or 0.005. I can't remember off the
Let's,
Either way.
for fuck's sake, let's
Anyway,
just
it's a
say,
small percentage.
yeah, a fifth of a percent. Let's just say that.
All right, now figure if that's the amount that are completely living on welfare at
Right.
this point in time, and you're paying almost half of your paycheck out in bills alone, then there's taxes on top of that,
Right.
and then there's your personal expenses, that things you want.
Well, no,
and need.
I don't mean make $1,300 after taxes.
All right,
Okay, because like if I make 500 a week, I take 320 home.
okay,
There's a way to do
yeah,
it.
they tax you pretty hard
Yeah.
when you're single.
Yeah.
But what if I told you I was going to take 40% of your pay every week?
I don't understand how you're going to put your cracked out version of the fair tax into the welfare system we're talking about.
No, listen. If I told you for 40% of your pay every week, you wouldn't have to worry about any of the expenses you just mentioned.
Right.
You want to eat out, you got to pay for it in cash.
I-
But you got 60% take home now with no bills to worry about ever. If you're not working, you fall under the same system. You still don't have any bills. You have no income for the things you want, but your basic needs are taken care of. You fall into that 0.05% for a short time. Because people come and go out of that constantly.
if
There's
you-
limits on it. You
what
can
you're
only be in
saying
it
is
for
you-
4 consecutive years.
What you say, you fall into the .05 if you're not